everybody. How is everybody
Mm,
doing? Welcome to Transgurus again. We are here. And by God, Lucas is here. He hasn't been here for a while. So it's nice. We are full, 5 people. We're gonna try to stay within our time. But our theme today, it's called Ingredients to Achieve Self-Actualizations. And with that, I give you Jimmy. Okay?
Hello, everyone, and Lucas, nice to have you today. So thanks for
there
being
is.
here. And you have your partner with you too. I love it. I love it. I got a couple cats along with a dog. So animals are cool.
Very
Mhm.
So what does it mean to self-actualize? Self-actualization, I think, is towards the top of the pyramid. I don't think there is a top to the pyramid of our existence. I think the the current state of human spiritual ascension, there is no top. But for purposes of discussion and trying to figure things out on the planet, self-actualization is the epitome of what our potential can become. It's the actualization of our full potential. And everyone's ingredients or recipe to achieve this is different. And earlier in the week, we were exchanging ideas and so on, and I came across a uh, three circles. One circle is consistency, the other circle is action, and the other circle is desire. Where these three circles, if you lay them on top of one another, where they all three intersect, it had a little arrow pointing to the word magic. And that got into some discussion on our group chat. And this is how I was thinking about this. You hear about folks saying, live your life to uh, a, manifest and attract things. Don't seek, uh, become what you desire, and it'll seek you. And I kind of look at it a little different way. So we're all energy. We are all energetic beings. And imagine there's music playing on a dance floor. We are our energy sphere, our aura is dancing with all other things in the universe, not just the planet, the universe, the quantum field. And so we live how we position ourselves on the dance floor isn't random. It's a result of the frequency that we transmit through vibration. And how I look at it is through thought and intention and desire, consistency, action, and desire. Through those, a combination of those three things. Some of it's from the heart, and some of it's from the mind. We broadcast our desires out into the ethers. The universe will arrange itself so that the universe doesn't bend itself to accommodate us. We are the universe. We are the universe. So our intention has a direct influence on who our dance partner is and what songs being played and the air conditioning and the whole thing. Everything is a result of our intention and our thoughts. And that's a hell of a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of power that each person has within us, and it can be intimidating. And so to self actualize requires a lot of self discipline, self motivation, self awareness, a desire to be something more than we currently are, and patience. Ella.
Yeah, absolutely. And never forget, think, listen to your heart, because that is the important thing of it. So, with those words, Bobby, you're next.
Yeah, I really appreciated that Venn diagram that Jimmy sent earlier this week, And you're right, self actualization was, I don't know, that really got to be more popular with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where he tried to describe the things that had to be in place before a person could actualize and they had to do with shelter and safety and food. Those sorts of essential things had to be, they were the foundation of his pyramid, and then at the very tip was the self-actualization part, and that couldn't happen until those basic human needs were under control. And so I know when I think about the trans community and how we're all different ages and in different situations, and we have different things going on in our environment, and maybe the part about shelter, or the part about safety, or the part about food, maybe all of that isn't quite in place for everybody, and it really makes it hard to get up there to the self-actualization part, and that's okay. Uh, um, the idea is persistence to 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 really bring those things into your life. And how did this Albert Einstein saying, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Um, to get the reality that you want, you need to vibrate. You need to have the frequency to reach that reality, and you can't help but get it. There was no other way in his mind, and he says this isn't philosophy, it's physics. And so the things Jimmy was talking about already with self actualization and that frequency of energy that we bring to our lives is also important. But I really loved his Venn diagram because it was so much simpler. And, the three circles were desire and action and consistency. And then that little area where they all overlap, of course, called magic. And I like that idea of thinking of self actualization as magic, because a lot of, especially in the trans community, when you look at our history and culture from the beginning of time, and how trans people, two spirit people, Ahira, how they were often viewed as the magicians, the oracles, the shamans, the medicine people,
To
the,
spirit.
the dignitaries, the ambassadors and negotiators, because they did seem to have something magical about them when you're at that place. Back to you, Ella.
Okay. With those words, Mr. Lucas, your turn.
All right. I like how Bobby was talking about equating the self actualization with magic, and it kind of like changes the vibe of the song. Do you believe in magic? Yeah.
Lemon spoonful.
But it's interesting, and I'm gonna move forward in my thoughts, assuming that because you bring up a good point that Laszlo's hierarchy of needs to be met before we can even start to think about self actualization. But um Mark Twain is credited for saying there's two most important days of your life: the day you're born and the day you realize why. And
Hmm.
I kind of am in a position recently in my personal life where I'm starting to figure out that why, and it's almost as if just before that you weren't really living, you were just kind of existing. And so to make that shift, I think part of self-actualization is making that shift from existing into living. Because again, like if you can't meet your needs, like if you're working 40, 50, 60 hours for cents on the dollar and you're not able to make rent and you're not able to make those basic needs, then yeah, you are just existing. Um, but I think when you're able to make that transition from, you know, I get up and I function and I do what I'm supposed to do because these are the things that we do because this is what we call life, into every day I wake up energetic, filled with purpose, knowing exactly what I need to be doing. And the biggest, in my opinion, and in my own personal experience, the biggest fuel for that fire is going out and doing something for somebody else. I'm in, not to like use this as a platform to produce my own stiff, but toot toot. Um, I'm finding myself able to produce 3 comedy shows, one here in Atlanta and 2 back home in Miami in the fall. And they're all centered around laughter and love, healing the world. We had opportunities to do something nice. We're gonna, with the proceeds of the show, we're gonna go do something nice. Now, don't break the chain. Keep the kindness connection going. Go do something kind for somebody else, with
Yeah.
no expectation of anything in return. Um, because it does find you back, and it's one of those things that it may not feel like it in the moment, and it doesn't find you back like next week, but karma finds a way to come back to you if you're patient and you keep leading with love and kindness and generosity. Um and so I'll leave it there. But as long as you got your Maslow's hierarchies met, go find your why and go do something nice for someone.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Raji, your turn.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I love what I'm hearing so far. Um, there's a part of me, though, I understand the whole thing of the pyramid and the hierarchy, and like it with not having like housing and food and a job and that sort of thing. It can be so challenging. And I think that, yeah, in many cases, a person isn't able to self actualize. But there's this thing in me that says, even when a person is in the lowest of low, they can make the thing inside them, the desires, the hopes, the dreams, the goals, it lives in everyone. I mean, it can live in everyone. And if you kind of declare that, okay, I'm in this situation, but I want better, and you put that energy out there. I even believe people that are in the struggle can do it. It's way more challenging, but I think it can be done on some level. I even think about my days when I was really struggling, and I still held on to my like dreams and goals and things that I wanted to manifest, and I did like little things towards it, which then led to like bigger things that and it kind of all manifested and played out in a wonderful way. So, wow. There's a saying, I think I said this before on a recent show: a vision without action is a dream. Action without a vision is chaos. So for me, it's very important to be clear about the things that you desire, and not only clear but specific. Because I don't know if any of you all out there, and even on the panel, have said you wanted something and you got it, but you got it and it wasn't quite exactly the way you wanted it. Like maybe there was a piece of what you wanted was there. So like that's why there's a saying called be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And I think that being clear and specific about the things that you desire, that's like first and foremost. And then you take the action. Little steps can lead to medium steps, can lead to big steps. But what I found in things that I want to manifest and that have manifested for me is I make a commitment that every day I will take a step towards it. So, say, like, for instance, I'll just use this as an example. You want to go to Italy. Okay, this is like a goal of yours. Well, it doesn't take much to go online and look at like what flights cost, um, look at like the times and where you could leave from. Also, pull up videos on Italy, because you know what that does? That tells the universe, it shows the universe that you believe in your desire, because you're making little steps like to work towards getting to Italy. So that's like just an example. Okay, so you do the action, and then there's a piece that I feel is very important, and it's gratitude. Because if you cannot be thankful for the things you have, you're going to find it very difficult to attract more things or more of what it is you want. Being able to express gratitude, it is so powerful, and I've used it in my life. And last but not least, the release. And that's where the magic happens for me. And oh, and let me just, before I forget, in the actions, you can also do things like pinwheels, where you like write a goal. You know, you do like a visualization board. There's so many things that you can do to get your manifestations going. You know, so self talk is another one. Raji, you know, I've been listening to a video, and I shared it with some of the gurus on self talk, but not in the first person, in the second person. So instead of saying, Raji, you got this, talk to myself. No, I'm sorry. Instead of me saying, Raji, or I got this. I can do it. You know, I'm gonna kill it. Raji, you got this. You know, you got this. You're going to kill it, Raji. Talking to myself as if I were a coach. And the video I've been listening to, it 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 says that because of the way our brain works and the neurons and all in our brain, that it's a very powerful tool. So, okay, I went back to the action, but let me go to the end now with the release. Uh, and me saying like that's where the magic is. So there's something that happens when you like made the declaration of what it is you want, and you work towards it. You've done stuff to help it manifest. You've given thanks, and you do it in a from a standpoint of gratitude, and then you release it. And that's the magic. The universe creates things for us sometimes in ways we wouldn't have ever expected. It's like, you know, and sometimes our brain, like the way we think, we limit ourselves. So that's when you have to just trust and believe that I did my part. Now the universe is going to respond and give me what I want, and in the right and perfect way. Ella.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. How shall I start, man? I mean, all my friends here have said such beautiful words. Yeah, self-actualization is a lifelong process. And I think we've told quite a lot of times here, and it's when you learn to listen to yourself that you actually are on the right path and to get where you want to be. It's when you accept yourself as a person and accept yourself as what you do, and you listen to your inner voice, because it's the most important thing. You know, everybody can tell you what to do, of course, but um, the only thing in life which is correct and the only thing in life is valid is what you know you can do. It's so important, and it gives you your growth, your esteem, your everything. It is very, very important, and it is a lifelong thing. I mean, all your life you will do this um, to become what you want, or what you have to do. I have to tell you that, throughout my life, I always had, ups and downs, and I made many mistakes, and thank God I made mistakes because I learned a lot, and which gave me more and more knowledge about other things. I mean, seriously, if I look back in my life, I probably, for every 20 mistakes, I had one win, but the win was really great. But you always think about it, and sometimes it's automatic. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but sometimes it's automatic. Sometimes you just think about, oh my God, I have to do this. And somehow not to have to do this, so I expect something to happen to me in this direction. And sometimes it comes just automatic like that. Poof. I had a couple of those these last days, which made me very, 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 very happy. But don't forget, it's your inner self which is the most important thing in life. It's where you have to go. Think and trust yourself and trust your own inner voice. It's not easy. I think it is. Why are we here? I mean, why are we living here? If you go to many religions, there is a kind of expectancy that we are learning to become better. It's the journey. It's a completely journey. There's no end. It's always a journey, a continuous journey. Of course, there is in that journey there is specific points where you just transition to something else, but it is a journey, and you know, try to find your journey. It is yours. You are responsible, and you are the only person which can actually guarantee your journey. And I think that is probably why we are transgender people we accept our journey, or we accept our inner feelings. And that's why sometimes, as Bobby said, many religions in the old days, they used to take transgender people as as religious people. I mean, two spirits. They usually had a very important place in civilization of the Indians, and not only of the Indians, but as well in the African civilizations. And never forget the Hindus, because they have a hell of a lot. So, I mean, many of the gods are not even really clearly gender, or they have a clear gender, or so it is something very important. But listen to what you have. And with those words, I give to the whole panel.
Now, in magic, we're not talking about hocus pocus. Magic is a generic term to describe how we interact with all other things.
Yeah.
And there was a, a science demonstration where they had like a glass plate and put sand on it, and then expose it to different sounds, different vibrations, and sometimes it made really nice patterns. Other times it was just a chaotic, random mess. So that's what we're broadcasting out into the ethers. And another thing, we're talking about the the pyramid thing. One of the ingredients to self-actualize was, I think Bobby mentioned, shelter.
Yeah.
Everything's relative. You know, to a homeless person, a tent would be considered a shelter.
Mhm.
You know, food could be considered a can of beans. So
Mm.
everything is relative. But I love what Raji said. Even in the midst of despair, there's the potential to self-actualize. Probably
Yeah.
more so than any other time, because adversity is going to wake up our latent abilities. The necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep.
And so it's when we are in adverse circumstances that the best of us is available.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Bobby.
Right. I just love what everybody is saying, and um, it's hard to know where to start. But when Raji, I was talking about, Einstein talking about raising the frequency of your energy to match the reality that you want. And so how do you do that? And Raji starts talking about gratitude. And gratitude is exactly that. When you're down, but then you start realizing what you have to work with, the things that you've got, the people that are in your life, the opportunities. If you took a little of this, a little of that, and she was talking about gratitude, and then you without saying it, you were talking about how things start rolling, and you used your hands and you made a spinning motion like that, and that reminded me of the flywheel analogy, and people that work on cars or engineers like Ella
Hmm.
understand the importance of a flywheel. When you're working with mechanical things, it's like once you overcome that inertia and get stuff moving, if the person that invented the flywheel, that starts spinning and it keeps building up momentum, and just the momentum of that flywheel kind of makes that engine keep working and and generating things, and so that really is, when we talk about raising your frequency, that's exactly how it works. You do have a lot of inertia, you do have some things that are working against you. And how do you break out of that? Gratitude is a huge part of that. When you start getting excited about what you do have to work with, and it really does become magical like that, because once that momentum starts building, then it just keeps attracting more things, or you're moving faster or going farther or expending less energy to get there. And so all of this stuff was just fitting together real easily. And something happened this week um, that I just want to mention real quickly. Um, I do a whole lot of activism, and I have been invited to speak at all of these rallies in the Appalachian part of Kentucky. And we have an event coming up Friday and Saturday where I'm going to speak. And the credible death threats are scary.
Hmm.
They're very precise, they're very scary. And we've been talking with the police department and the sheriff's department and some of our friends that are ex-military and things like that, because, and I was with my therapist and talking about, it's like, I'm going down there. I am determined to speak truth to power, and I am not going to be intimidated by that. But I was thinking about, all the stuff we talked about with the police and the sheriff and some of these other people that are like kind of plain clothes. And she says, it sounds like you're rehearsing doom. Like, if this happens, I'm going to do this. And if this happens, I'm going to do this. And if this happens, I'm going to do this. And you are rehearsing doom. And I go, heck, you're exactly right. I need I need to rehearse love and light and unity.
Absolutely.
Um, and that just really changed everything. It really changed everything about what I'm going to do and what I'm going to say. And this is a part of the world, and I'm sure it's the same way in Florida, where I mean, they are there to intimidate you. Got big guys with pickup trucks and AR-15s and baseball, all the junk, and they're there specifically to intimidate. And I want to melt their heart. I want them to understand my why. I may not get them to change their party affiliation, but they are going to understand why I am so passionate about what I'm there to talk about, and and how it affects all the families. It's not a left or right thing, it's a forward thing, and it's for your families. And it's like putting food on your table, taking care, being able to buy medicine for your children, being able to get to work on time and having a job. And it's all about that. And that's what I want to talk about going forward. So it's just, it really helped me to see that, dadgummit, I am doom. I am rehearsing doom. And what, I know better than that. And I'm not going to do that anymore. So now I'm rehearsing love and light for Friday. And I expect to have a glorious time down there. I really do. So I just want to mention that because when we talk about raising your energy level and all that stuff, I'm afraid there's people out there thinking, oh, yeah, you all got it made. And I just want people to understand I purposely walk into situations that scare me to death, that fill me with anxiety. I purposely do that because of I know what these policies have done to children and people I love who are no longer here. And so I'm compelled to go. And I'm going to do it and I'm not going to be scared about it. And so it's just I want people to understand that what we talk about it, raising your energy and the momentum and the magic and all that stuff, we never said it was easy. And we never said there are moments when I'm not scared to death. Uh, but that's how you grow in your courage and your confidence, and you attract more and more stuff into your life. And so I just wanted to be sure to mention that to everybody who thinks, oh, yeah, you all got it made. You don't understand what I'm living with. And I want you to know, yes, I do. And everybody else is in Florida I'm in Appalachian coal mining tobacco country of Kentucky. Yeah, we do. We really do. And we both have really hostile environments when it comes to the trans stuff. But I'm determined.
You know, in Florida here as well, sometimes it gets a little bit hostile sometimes.
Yeah.
Lucas, your turn.
Sorry, I muted myself because nature is a little loud. I didn't want it to. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I like what Bobby had to say about like intentionally going into those spaces. Um, after I moved to Georgia, very
Fight tough
intentionally.
audiences too. I know you do.
Yeah, well, and I intentionally outed myself to certain people, especially after I got a job, um, because I wanted to kind of blow their mind and blow their ideas of what they thought my community is, um, and then be the most obnoxiously nice person they've ever met, to the point where there is someone that I work with. There's more than one person that I work with that are like adamant supporters of the administration and what they're doing against our community, but like are feeling super weird about it now that I'm in their life. Like we've had some really interesting talks. Um, and so I think that like obviously coming out and being visible is a personal choice and one that you have to measure and balance the safety stuff. Like my mom is kind of upset with me that I didn't choose to just stay stealth in Georgia. I was like, well, not for nothing. I'm kind of all over the internet with my comedy. So if people really wanted to know, they could.
Yeah.
Um, and so, uh, but I was just like, you know what? At the end of the day, I can't not be me. You know what I mean? And this is just a part of who I am. And yeah, it does make my life a little bit more dangerous to live out, especially in Georgia. Marietta is kind of like South Florida in the sense of like, there's some stinkers in the area, but overall, most people just kind of keep to themselves and they don't really care either way. Um, but I think that the best way we change hearts and minds is just by going out and being the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Sure.
And hate begets more hate, and kindness and love, you know, sometimes stop when it's met with hate, but certainly don't beget more hate. It only can get nothing or more love and kindness. So that's why I'm just choosing love and kindness.
That's the best way to go. Absolutely. Raji, you go.
Sure. Well, South Florida, I always say, like, even where I am, Victoria Park, like 5 minutes away from Wilton Manors, this area, we have our own, like, kind of insulated community, if you will. So I feel very grateful for that because, for the most part, I feel pretty safe in this area. But I say that to say it's Florida. And all I have to do is drive west to Weston, and it'll be a whole other thing. And that's like only like 40 minutes away. So it depends on where we are. I'm grateful that I'm in a pocket where I feel pretty safe. But lately I've had little moments where I was like, oh God, I didn't like the energy because people have become pretty brazen about their hatred. So, and I'm an empath, so I pick up on energy very quickly. And so I've been feeling that, like when I'm out and about, uh, not all the time, but here and there. So relativity, I loved. I think Bobby, no, not Bobby. I'm sorry, Jimmy had mentioned about relativity and like it's all relative. And I always like, and especially lately in my life, I try to remind myself of the saying, it's either the glass half empty or the glass half full. And so I try to proceed in life that way because it really is relative. Like, you know, there are places in the world where people like us are are respected. It's relative to society. So it's all how you look at something. You can a person could look at a transgender person and think, oh my God, abomination, and oh, they're a freak, and oh, disgusting. Or they could look at us and say, wow, you know, the duality is like two in one. And how special is that? And like the things that we bring to life. And so, again, all relative. And so I feel like people can remind themselves that, yeah, there might be gloom and doom around, but we don't always have to look at it that way. And we can try to find like the blessings and the opportunities in the gloom and doom, just like with COVID. During COVID, COVID was a horrible thing. A lot of people died, but during COVID, a lot of people had time to like sit down and think about like what are the important things in their life, and prioritize. A lot of people started working from home, and starting new projects. Some people started businesses. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like during a horrific time, there were still blessings. It's that
Art,
same.
a lot of art got created during that time too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that whole thing of like that whole thing from evil cometh good. I think that's from the Bible. I'm not sure, but I think so. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. Ella.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but well, we are actually getting a little bit over the time.
Yeah.
So I will let's just go to our last words, and then I don't know what happened to Jimmy. Probably she didn't have any battery anymore or something like that. Or
Yeah.
something happened. Anyway, it is really wonderful to to listen to you. And but just let's make a last round. Bobby, just
Um,
a very short one.
well, I love the feeling of experiencing magic, and you never know where it's going to come from. And that is the thing I enjoy most about authenticity and self-actualization is the things that are manifested in your life are I just never imagined. I just never imagined the life I would be living now. Back when I was a kid and all this others, I just never imagined how good it could be and how many magical things come in. And so that's why I was really tempted to kind of equate that self-actualization with magic because they're just things that you never would have expected or imagined that come true. And they seem like magic because they just kind of come out of nowhere sometimes.
Lucas?
I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Just stay kind and stay connected.
Absolutely. Raji?
Well, I just want to say that I think this was a great show. Lucas, it was wonderful having you on the
Yeah.
panel this show. So thanks for taking time out. I'm just going to close with this: Stardust. And anyone out there feels like they don't have the ability to create magic, remind yourself that we all are made from stardust. Ella.
You're right.
Lucas, okay, first thing, thanks for coming. It was really great to have you here. But I just want to tell something, and it is, I think, for me, it's a very important thing. I travel a lot. I go to countries with, there are so much anti-trans. I mean, really, really places that if they would find out that I'm trans, probably I'll not be alive. Well, more or less. But you know what? It's very much the way you present yourself.
Mhm.
It's not the beauty, it's your self-confidence. It's the way
Yes.
you bring yourself to other people that makes the difference. Yes, like Lucas, I tell very many people, and most of the people that I know that I am transgender. And I really welcome their support for me having the courage to do what I did. Okay. With those words, and thank you very much for listening to Transgurus.
Yes.
It was a really great
So
meeting
was
you.
thought.
Well, thank you, Lucas, for coming. Please come next week again. And bye, everybody.
Take care.
Everybody.
Love,
Bye.
peace, and blessings.
Namaste.